De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Keon Ellis, Davion Mitchell, Kevin Huerter, Chris Duarte, Colby Jones, and now Devin Carter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guards right now, Chris, that are looking to crack the rotation for the Kings. Obviously, there are some that we know will crack the rotation. De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk. Is that it? Is that it right now that we know will play minutes, or heavy minutes for the Kings next season? That we know.
I would guess Keon will as well, regardless of I just think that Kevin and Davion's days are numbered here. That's where I feel like I'm at this point. Mm-hmm. I just think that it makes too much sense for them to pursue whatever avenue it is. I don't know if it's Kuzma. I don't know if it feels like Cam Johnson's a name that's entered the race here. It feels like Dorian Finney-Smith is definitely a name to look out for as well. I just think that it seems so obvious now that it's probably going to be Kevin Huerter and Davion Mitchell on the way out and them getting one of these forwards that are available here. That's how I see it, at least.
Okay.
So so saying that, I would say, that opens the door for Devin. We definitely know, like you said, Malik's absolutely getting minutes. And I think Keon is pretty cemented in there to get some minutes after how he finished last season and just how good I think everybody's feeling. I feel like those three would be the one I'm very confident. Well, I guess four, because I feel like you're not going to take Devin Carter and then say, go sit on the bench, buddy.
I don't think you are, because if that was the case, you would have taken a project.
Absolutely.
Right? Or somebody with,
exactly.
and not to say anything about Devin Carter's ceiling, but somebody with an even higher ceiling.
Potentially, yeah.
Because
absolutely.
you have time
yes.
to kind of.
Yeah, you weren't planning to play them anyway.
Exactly. The way I see it, and I know Kevin Huerter, he might be safer than you think, Chris, simply because he is a bit different. But at the same time, as far as, offensively, the way he shoots the ball, none of the other guards, period, can do that when Kevin Huerter is hot. And he was not hot for basically all of last season. I look at Davion Mitchell, and we discussed this as basically a perfect situation for the Kings, because with Malik Monk getting injured, Davion had to play more. Yeah. He had essentially gotten leapfrogged by Keon Ellis, so Davion had to play, and he played pretty darn well. He shot the three ball well. Yep. We saw him create a little bit more. He played with more confidence. We saw some floaters. We saw some mid-range, some of that midi game. So I do think that Davion maybe has a little bit more value than people like me think. I don't know how far that goes, but I'm excited to see what Monty McNair is able to do. And again, and we'll play Monty McNair's full interview a little bit later. We have kind of his stance on the logjam, but he knows what it is. Yeah. He's not, definitely, we could find a way to make this work. He knows somebody has to go. And I think he's willing to make that happen, even if that value may have swayed a little bit, because all the other teams know y'all got about 15 guards. So I want this one and that one. And we know that you have to get rid of them as well. But I think it'll even out just enough.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have fear that that's reducing their value at all. I mean, I don't think teams really look at other teams' rosters and say, like, unless it's a very clear and obvious, like, hey, we know Brandon Ingram's not going to be on that team next year. That might reduce his value a little, but I don't think Kevin Huerter or Davion Mitchell necessarily have less value because the Kings have this logjam now. I feel like they'll still have, and even if it does, it's going to take such a small amount of value off of it that I don't think it's going to be anything in terms of, hey, you have to throw in an extra first round pick or anything that's serious. So yeah, I think a deal is getting done. I just feel like it's just a matter of time. If in 10 days, I mean, free agency literally starts this weekend. Yeah. I think that I would be shocked if by next weekend there hasn't been anything done, or we're not super close to having something done. To me, I mean, yesterday, again, just kind of hearing the whispers and the rumors from a lot of people in the building. A lot of people were on the phones all day yesterday, and a lot of those people thought this pick wasn't going to be made. I just think wholeheartedly, and I know now 13's off the board, you kind of have to go back a little bit to the drawing board and figure out how you make up that 13th pick value. But to me, and I've been saying this, the Kings are in way too many conversations. I've heard way too many rumors spread across multiple names to not think at this point that the Kings are definitely going to make a move for one of these guys. It's just a matter of which ones and when it actually happens. To me, I think a lot of the writers in the room yesterday were surprised by the fact that the Kings actually ended up making that pick. I think a lot of people, especially the writers in the room, I know because Frankie, I know how his process goes. Mm-hmm. Something tells me a lot of those writers had some pre-written articles ready to go for when the Kings made a trade for Dorian Finney-Smith, for Cam Johnson, for potentially Kyle Kuzma, and who knows, maybe some graphics too.
From Esteban, what team needs guards and have too many wings? At the top of my head, it's the Pelicans.
Yeah,
it's the
exactly
Pelicans.
right.
I mean, absolutely. And I know they have Jose Alvarado, so maybe Davion is redundant, but Kevin Huerter, and I don't want to talk about trading Keon, but you could make something happen there with Kevin Huerter and somebody else to get that Brandon Ingram conversation going again. Who is looking to get signed. And Tim Legler said it would essentially be malpractice if the Pelicans extended him. So the Kings will have some opportunities here. Let's hear from Monty McNair. Like we said, we'll have the full interview a little bit later in the show, but this is a clip of what he had to say about the log jam at the guard position.
We understand the importance of roster balance, not just across positions, but skill sets. We're at the beginning of the off season where we'll be able to continue to shape the roster. But as I've continually said in the draft is not about right now. The draft is about adding somebody to our team who can be here for a long time. And we try to draft the best player available. And, we look for versatile guys. I mean, Devin Carter just checks all the boxes. If you watch the playoffs this year, there are a lot of Devin Carters out there. I'll put it that way. And so we try to find tough, physical guys who can play on both ends, make a shot, score the ball, switch, guard guys, rebound. I mean, guy like that we couldn't pass up. So, we understand the rest of the roster and what we'll have to do there. But tonight was about that.
There are two gems in there that I love to hear.
Get the talent in the building and figure the rest out later. We react to Monty McNair's clip on the log jam. We open up the phone lines, open them back up, 916-339-1140, and we talk winners and losers, apparently, from the NBA draft. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Our first year is the radio home of the San